unless you get underneath there with some kind of a heating source, they're not going to break loose. It says, have a survival strategy. Try to alert someone your situation so they know where you are. Consider your fuel supply and how long you might be able to, the engine might be able to idle on the fuel you've got. Remember, trucks burn somewhere between a gallon and a gallon and a half an hour, depending on how you're idling them. If you have a downdraft exhaust, in other words, if you got a weed burner, make sure you get underneath there and clear all the snow out around that exhaust pipe. Otherwise, you're going to get carbon monoxide and you could die. It says, do not leave the truck in search of shelter. Inside, you have some protection from the elements. Dress warmly even if you're inside. If you sleep, set an alarm to wake yourself up periodically so you don't get hypothermia. These are all good things. Here we go. The government whether the government will continue to pursue speed limits could be decided as a part of a government funding bill. All right, Landline is talking about this funding bill that's got, you know how Congress is. They throw all kinds of crap in there. And I've said this is my personal preference or my personal ID. Personally, where it's safe to drive 65 miles an hour, trucks should drive 65 miles an hour. I don't think trucks should be going any faster than that. And I don't think cars should be going any faster than 70 miles an hour. That's my own personal opinion. There's a lot of drivers out there probably wouldn't agree with me. But I don't know how many times I've seen trucks go past me doing 90 flipping miles an hour. That's insane in an 80,000 pound rig. 70 for cars, 65 for trucks, in my opinion. Don't you guys just love brokers? How many times that broker called you at 3 in the morning when you're trying, especially if you're running solo and you're trying to sleep. And yet at the same time, when you go to try to call a broker, you can't get a hold of them. To me, I'm not a fan of brokers or broker loads, period. They're one big pain in the butt. Any driver out there that's listening to this knows I'm exactly dead on the money. It says brokers 3 a.m. calls, unless there's been a death in the family, a text will suffice. Absolutely. Those brokers don't need to be calling you at 3 in the morning like I was just saying. Now, if you're running a team and both people are up, that's a whole different story. But as you probably can tell, I am not a big fan of brokers or broker loads. Here we go. The Michigan Senate has announced a bill that would allow electrics to exceed weight limits. I'm not a fan of electric trucks. The amount of battery power is, well, I'm not going to get into it. But it's kind of funny how Michigan, just to give an incentive to companies to go ahead, they're not saying this in the article. They're just saying they're going to let trucks that are running on electric power haul heavier loads and not have to be within the weight limits. Now, did the roads all of a sudden change because you got an electric truck? I don't think so. Did the reason why they set those limits change? I don't think so. So basically, it's the old carrot and the stick. Here we go, getting back to brokers. Brokers who fail or refuse to pay carriers for legitimate services rendered will have their operating authority suspended and will be unable to continue accruing claims over time. How many times, especially as an owner-operator, and you've dealt with a broker, and and I'm not going to name any names because I got 2 or 3 of them coming top of my head, but how many times when you went to get paid, you had to, you went through hell to get it. Well, now if a company gets filed too many claims against them, guess what? They're going to lose their authority. It says diesel prices on the decline. They make this story sound like it's dropping. It went from $4.29 or $4.30 on average a gallon to $4.29. Oh my word, Lord have mercy. It fell 1 penny and they act like they're making this story. Said good news for truckers as cost eased down. 1 cent? Hey, when it gets to 20 cents, call me. All right? Oh, by the way, remember the freeway that burnt down in Los Angeles? It's opening up today. Today is the 21st of November. You know, isn't it funny? Whenever they go ahead and they do a project, it takes them months to get anything done. It takes months to get the contracts taken care of. It takes months for them to get anything done. But when they have to get something done, isn't it funny when they have to get something done, they can get it done in days? When was this, the 27th of October? When this thing caught on fire? Might have been later than that. Hell, I don't even remember what day it was. All I know is that it reopens today. Ain't that special? And here's one good thing. Thanksgiving, and I'm going to get into Thanksgiving driving. Thanksgiving road alert, no construction delays in Tennessee. How many times can you imagine? Think about all the places where there's road construction across the United States right now in holiday traffic. Now, here's something when it comes to holiday traffic. You know, people think about like the Wednesday before Thanksgiving is the worst day. No, it's not. Now, Thanksgiving traffic is the worst. It's worse than Christmas. Because Christmas time, a lot of people don't go. Now, this is kind of cynical on my part. But a lot of people don't do a lot of traveling on Christmas simply because you got to bring gifts. The only thing you got to bring on Thanksgiving is your appetite. And maybe a pumpkin pie. But anyway, the worst day for Thanksgiving traffic is not Wednesday. It's the Sunday after Thanksgiving. In all the years I've driven, which has been 47 years, there's no worse day than that Sunday. I can remember one time, I think it was 1983. No, it's later than that. Let's say 86 or 87. And I'm coming down Interstate 5 just before you get to Santanella. Most of you drivers know where I'm talking about. But there's a sign that says 7 miles to Santanella. And I remember getting to that sign, and it took an hour and 15 minutes to go from that sign to get into the truck stop. I finally just pulled into the TA. At that time, it wasn't a TA. It was a 76, I believe. But I pulled in there, pulled up in the parking lot, and I went to bed till 2 in the morning. That is the absolute worst day, is the Sunday after Thanksgiving. So drivers, plan accordingly, because it will, of course, it may not be that bad these days, but it will be hell. Sad news, FedEx truck driver dies in an I-95 crash in Virginia. Now get this. A four-wheeler crashes into this FedEx truck, pushes him into one of the bridge embankments that holds the bridge up. Of course, his cab slammed into that, and it killed the driver. The driver of the four-wheeler got out of the car and ran. I don't even know if they've apprehended him yet or not. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and drivers out there, I want you to be safe. Put the cell phones down. Put your seat belts on. Do your logbook. Certify your logs if they're electronic, because they're all coming after you on these things. Anything that DOT can get to make a buck on, especially in the state of California, or every state that you can think of that's having a little bit of a problem when it comes to the coffers of that state. All you got to do is take a little bit of time, and you can avoid these fines. Anyway, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button. And another thing too, if you're looking for a good company to work for, I want you to get a hold of Kennesaw Transportation if you're a team here in Rydell, Georgia. I'll put the link in the description box, the phone number. Talk to Kelly Jones and tell him Big Ed sent you. Anyway, thanks for your time, drivers, and I'll see you in the next one.